What is up, YouTube? Southern Comic Geek coming to you. And since you see this thing right here, you know that I got a lot of great stuff to show you. Just got back from Pensacon. I'm going to show off all my SIGs, my books I picked up, etc., etc. So if you want to see what I picked up at Pensacon this year, stay tuned for the video. Now, before we get into all of this great comic books slash Funko Pop action figure signature goodness, go ahead and smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so when videos like this drop ever so randomly, you are one of the first people to know and can make the conscious decision as to whether or not to watch it now or later. As long as you watch it, we appreciate you. Talking about appreciation, let's show a little appreciation towards those YouTube and Patreon channel members, an ever-growing list of folks that are supporting the channel through their memberships. And if you are interested in the perks of doing so, or are interested in doing one or the other, or both, they are in the links, that is, are in the description below. And so I guess this is as good a thing as any. I was able to meet Larry Kenney at the con this year. Larry Kenney, the voice of one Lion-O, Thundercats, ho! And so, you know, there's somebody that could do it better than me. How about the man himself?
Let me know when you're rolling. Ready. A Sword of Omens tells me that you're watching Southern Comic Geek. Thundercats, ho!
So the man himself was nice enough to do that for me while we were there in the room, and so I do appreciate him. He was also the voice of Count Chocula. Says, "Boo! He wants to eat the cereal. They want to eat the cereal." So shout out to Larry Kenney, a voicing legend for a lot of our childhoods, right? So man, this is so the story started out very crazy. I did not plan this con because I was kind of wondering at the last minute I was going to be able to even go because I had a graduation the night before. I was kind of tossing up, don't want to get up early, but I didn't want to drive 8 hours, which is for both way. In one day plus the con. So I elected to go ahead and leave after the graduation and drive down there without having booked a hotel room. Nay, nay. Don't ever do that. So after finally finding a hotel room, I was able to shut my eyes for a few hours and then met up with Sparks Comics and NOLA Comics and was able to get together with them and meet at Cracker Barrel and get some breakfast before I hit up the con. I went live several times during a couple of times during the day, just showing off while I was in line, et cetera, et cetera. Talking about lines, the longest line of the day was certainly for this thing right here, and that's Ahsoka Tano. This is Ashley Eckstein, who signs it one big A for Ashley and Ahsoka, and got that pop signed by her. It was funny because the people in line behind me had the exact same pop, so there was quite a few of these. Planned on getting her first appearance, not the actual comic, but this book here. Planned on getting that signed, but she only does cash, and at $100, yikes, right? I was kind of iffy on doing it, but I had already committed to it, and then as luck would have it, I actually had $101 in my pocket. So usually I don't carry a lot of cash. I made a visit to the ATM earlier for another one of the creators, and luckily had not spent the rest of my cash before I got there. So she was in a separate area, and rightfully so, with as many people that were in her line. But the rest of the Star Wars crew were in a room by themselves, including this guy right here. So this is Matt Wood. I normally don't cross lines, don't cross the streams, as Ghostbusters says. But this is a photo cover, and he made the comment that, hey, I don't see this very often. So I don't know if people just think like me and not cross those lines. But this is a photo cover, so I say, hey. And he wrote, crush him. And for whatever reason, he wrote the voice of General Grievous on there. Normally they don't; they just assume you know who they are. But so got him to sign that, as well as this action figure right here. Wanted to do the pop, which is kind of my thing, I guess, but the pop eluded me at the last minute, so decided to get this. And he put prepare for the attack, again citing the voice of General Grievous. So I've got to get a plastic thing to house this so it doesn't rub that off, kind of like what I do with my pops. So glad to get that. I've also got something else coming from him that he should be shooting to me fairly soon. And I tell you what else I got coming up. If you remember the video that I did cracking that PGX slab of the ASM 300 newsstand, that video will be coming because that book is back on its way back from CBCS. And so that book will be heading towards me. And so be looking for that book later on this week on a live show. And talking about live shows this month, so there's only a week left in this month. And for this month, this is the giveaway right here. We've got Uncanny X-Men 266, 94, newsstand copy of it. That everybody who is a member of the channel, again, the links are in the description of this video if you're interested in joining, but everybody who's a member gets 5 chances, and for every $1 of super chat, you get 1 chance. And if so, at the end of the month, we'll tally all those up. So you can give super chats away in live shows, premieres, etc. And so that ASM 300, showing that book off and what we got as a CBCS grade, will be a live show. So that will be an opportunity for you there, as well as when I do my the auctions on Saturdays. So there you go. So I met up with Pat Broderick. So Pat Broderick, who's done several things, not the least of which is this book, which to most people is not a big book. It is the first appearance of Tim Drake. However, it is not a huge book, but this is the first Batman book I bought. Not the original copy, mind you, but it is the original book that I bought in 1989 after the movie came out. And so he, as you can see from this direct thing right here, he drew it. John Beatty inked it, which I had already gotten John Beatty to do that, and Marv Wolfman wrote it. So hopefully I'll get Marv Wolfman to sign it one day. I also got him to sign this Planet of the Vampires. This is also, I believe, Larry Hama's first work writing. So hopefully I'll be able to get Larry Hama to sign this at some point, and it'll be a dual signed book. But that was pretty cool. Also, I got this right here. So we're going to try to put this out here so you can see it the best. This is a thing I picked up on Amazon because I was getting more and more of these. And so I decided to pick up some of these. So this is a print that Pat Broderick did, which is, of course, an homage to Silver Surfer. Forget the number, but the classic cover where Thor's right here, Surfer's right here, and they're battling off. It's been homaged several times, but as you know, I'd like the Hulk 181 homages. This is telling the same tale as that Hulk 181 does, and so that was pretty cool. Also, I met Tony Isabella. So Tony Isabella, creator of Cheetah. What her name? Cheetah? Tigra from the Avengers. Also Black Lightning. So from DC, and Misty Knight, who is usually Moon Knight's big squeeze. And so he did this Black Lightning cover, and you can't really see it, but these are all the words that are in the book, the Black Lightning book. And if you're familiar with that cover, that's the cover. So they highlighted or colored the wording just so, and I'm sure there's like a official what you call this because I've seen it done before, but I thought that was really cool. And then he signed it right here. Not going to show it, but it's down here. There we go. He signed it down here and numbered it. It's number 21 of 500. He also signed a Iron Fist book, and the first time I've ever done this, I brought a book that was not his. Oops, I should have done a better job at. So I also got him to sign this Marvel Premiere 22, and as you can see, that is a Pence edition. Got him to sign it down here, and he dated the year. And he had these exclusives. These look like the True Believers, and I believe this retails the Marvel Premiere issue, first appearance of Misty Knight. As you can see, that's them duking it out when they first meet each other. But he signed it right here, and he numbered it. So this is issue 306 of 1500. I also have 305, and probably will do a giveaway for one of those at some point. Uh, they weren't that much, and I know that helps out the artists and stuff that do that, so decided to pick that up. And also got some original art. Not a big original art connoisseur. One, they're really expensive. Two, it's just like, where do you put it? But there was an artist whose name escapes me now. But as you can see, well, right here, he signed it down here for me. But this is an original page from the book Loners, which I was not familiar with. But if you recognize the character, this is Penance from Generation X. And then this is Darkhawk. And basically, the premise of the book, so he said, was that these young heroes were having like PTSD, and they were having like these sessions together. And I was like, oh, okay. But now that I got one of the original art pages, I'm going to have to end up getting their book because that would be pretty cool. I also had this book in the collection. This is Rogue Volume 3, I believe. And this is issue 7. Got him to sign that down there. Not a big book or anything, just happened to have it in the PC and like their SIGs. And this book right here, Unity 25. So this book was done by several different people. I got him to sign it down here. And there was a guy at the table next to him. So he was telling the guy, and he opened the book to show the guy, but basically he did the pages where there was like PSA announcements, kind of like G.I. Joe. At the end of G.I. Joe, they would say, wait, don't do this. And, oh, I didn't know that. Well, now you know, and knowing's half the battle. Classic line that's been used multiple times since then. Well, he was trying to run my card and it kept not going through. We'll come to find out, if you're an American Express owner, you know what I'm talking about. And that is that you use the 4 digits on the front, not the 3 on the back, like every other card. And he said, oh, I didn't know that. And I said, now you know. And knowing's half the battle. So it was very, very timely. We got a good laugh, me, him, and the guy that was there with him. And so that was really cool. I spent a bunch of time at hold on a second, let me show this right here. So John Dale is an inker. He's inked a bunch of stuff over the years, but I got him to do these two. I got him these two original pieces from the book Emerald Warriors. Again, never heard of the book, but these were pretty cool because they're actually this pages 14 and page 15. You really can't tell it because it's kind of persnickety right here. That's Batman doing some rescuing. He's teaming up with Guy Gardner. And this is Batman to the rescue over here, here. And another book that I'm going to have to find, probably a dollar bin find somewhere. But these were pages that he had done, and they weren't that expensive, so I decided to pick them up. Also from him, I already had this signed by Peter David. I had gotten it out of a mystery box or something from somebody, and he did the inks on it, so I decided to go ahead and get him to sign it. So that would be a dual sign book, making it twice as cool, right? I had met him before and got him to sign a couple of things, but I've since added a lot more to my collection that he's done. So this is Wolverine 100, the classic hollow foil cover that if you do it just right, you can see Wolverine and you can also see his bones. So this is the direct edition. This is the newsstand edition. So I got him to sign that one as well. And funnily enough, if that's a word, it's not. This is the Cable 150 homages, New Mutants 87, and the lenticular cover, and he signed it there for me. He also signed Iron Fist 14. I was like, would you do all the lenticular covers? Luke Cage #1. And he said, look, I didn't even know this was done. So he can find his own work. And he opened the book and did just that. But it was kind of funny because he said Marvel doesn't send them a copy. He just does it. And then, I guess that they pay. He feels blessed that they paid him. He also had done inks on Civil War #7, which I had previously gotten signed by Steve McNiven and Dexter Vines. And I found out that he'd done that as well. So now it's a cool tri-signed book. So that is really cool. And so, yeah, got him to sign all of those books right there. Got the original art from him. So that was really cool. And which is one of the reasons why I carry that big wagon, which allows me to have all that extra room for stuff. Also met Peter David again. I had previously had a copy of this book signed by him and gave it away. So this is an Incredible Hulk 340 newsstand copy, classic cover. We've got Peter David there. I believe this is because I don't know when, if ever, I'll see Todd McFarlane to get him to sign this book. There's somebody else whose name escapes me that probably could get him to sign, but I think at this point, I think I'm just going to put this in the box to go to CBCS. Leave me a comment down below what you think I should do, but I think this is going to go to CBCS and get it pressed, and then sent to CBCS. Peter David actually, strangely enough, thought I was somebody else. He showed me the picture, and I was like, oh, okay, I really don't know how to take this, but okay. This is Amazing Spider-Man 365, which is the first appearance of Spider-Man 2099. Talking about Spider-Man 2099, Peter David wrote it. And so pretty clean copy of that right there. Last month, I had gotten Sam De La Rosa to sign this. I don't know why he signed in silver because you can barely, there you go, you can see it now. But Peter David wrote one of those stories in there, so I got that signed. Hulk 331, which is the first work for Peter David on the Incredible Hulk, so that was nice. Previously had bought this book. Actually, I think I bought this book at in a comic shop in Alabama, and it had the COA in it. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. Which it says of 10, it's issue 569 of 10,000. Back then 10,000 wasn't a lot, but it is now. And it's signed by Larry Stroman, who is the artist. Peter David was the writer, so got him to sign that right there. Hulk 449, first appearance of the Thunderbolts. Got him to sign that. 99% sure that's going to CBCS. And then Unlimited 2099. Pat Broderick, who I mentioned earlier, did some work in here. Peter David did as well. Of course, this cover at least is done by Ron Lim. I've met Ron Lim before, and so if I meet him again, I'm going to get him to sign it. There's a lot of people that did various things in here, so it might be oversigned before it's all said and done with that. But it's always cool to get to meet some folks that have done a lot of the work that you grew up with and get to talk about their craft and all that kind of good stuff. So met one of the, kind of break this up here, I had ran into one of the people that I met at one of the vendors, that is, at the Huntsville Comic Expo. Picked up a couple of Hulks from him, nothing too big, 473. 472, and this one is the bigger one of them, 474. This is the last issue. Of course, homage is the first issue. This is the last issue of Volume 1. And so then Volume 2, they start off by just going with Hulk. They eventually add this back, and then eventually they go back to the legacy number. It's messed up. Marvel didn't know where they were going with stuff. I picked this up because it was kind of cool. But this is a giveaway from 7-Eleven. He said he had bought a collection. There was a ton load of these things in there. I said, well, somebody must have used to work at a 7-Eleven or bought it before they threw them away or something like that. So that was kind of cool. spent a bunch of time at the Scout Comics booth. I feel like that Scout, Mad Cave, all these places that have all these new properties, and understandably so to agree, because Marvel and DC, you have age old properties, and even though DC has no continuity now, there's still a box that you have to play in, and somebody else's character. That character doesn't, you don't get paid past that. So I mean, I could see some of it. But so I was talking to Scout, and a lot of the different creators bought something from every one of them while I was standing there at the booth. First off, I met uh, Jonathan Hedrick, who was the writer for Recount. Of course, this is an homage to Scarface. This is a 1 in 10 ratio. Brian Silverbacks, whom I met last month, had already done this remark and signed it, and Jonathan had signed it as well, and it's a 9.8 slab. And I was like, man, that's really cool. Brian's already done this. I'd like to get it, but then I can't read it. And he said, well, I'll tell you what to do. If you'll buy that, I'll give you this one and sign this one for me for free. It's like, okay, deal. So got that. And if you've never read The Recount, it's a very timely book. Obviously, they either had a crystal ball or part of the Illuminati, one of the two. But so very timely when it was released. Also met this guy that done this. This is the Shepherd. And this is the, I think, 4 graphic novels. It's considered an omnibus. He signed it right there. Done work with his son, so I thought that was kind of cool as well. But basically, it says classic stories is told by heroes like Gilgamesh, Orpheus, Heracles, who have ventured into the afterlife to face unknown peril in order to save a loved one. This search and related journeys through the afterlife are what drive the acclaimed graphic novel series, The Shepherd. So I thought about, well, do I really want to spend the money to get this? Get a graphic novel, but then I'm like, what if I like it? Then I got to order it. So I just give me the thing. Show my support for some indie love, and also have that. Uh, then, whose name is escaping me right now, but he did sign it, and he's the writer of this. If I remember correctly, basically, this is a postman who delivers messages to the dead. Kind of weird, but neat. So I don't think this one's past the first issue, um, but got that. I also got the stake. Now, basically, this girl sees her friend murdered by a vampire on social media. So she teams up with another vampire, and they want to catalog or um, find who all's where and find the one that killed her friend. And this is kind of a prequel. And I don't remember if this is the vampire that killed her friend or the one that's helping her, but it's set in like the 1700s. And he signed it right there. This is, again, a prequel. The main book, which I did not get a copy of, he had some top tier talent on that book. He had Derek, Warren Lau. He had John Jane. He had a bunch of people do some big covers. So I don't know how the book panned out. I should have asked him how it's been doing, um, since you had all that, top tier talent on there. But it's really interesting conversation with all those guys talking their craft and talking about what they like, what they don't like, et cetera, et cetera. So finally got out of Ashley Eckstein's line, and so let me just make one more round. And I found a table. All right, found a table and got a bunch of books. I originally gave one set of books to him, and they were cheaper than what I thought. And so I thought, let me just go ahead and get the rest of these that I want, and picked up the rest of them. And yeah, so here we got Hulk #6 from the McGinnis run. I actually got both variant covers. They're connecting covers there. Red Hulk versus Green Hulk, which there's several like this in that run, but thought that was pretty cool. Also got Hulk versus Pitt. Very iconic teaming back up of Peter David and Dale Keown. So couldn't pass that up. I should have went back over to Peter David's table. Now I think about it and got that. This is Hulk 317. which is the first appearance of the new Hulkbusters. Hulk 319, 320, 336. I thought I had this, but should have didn't. My CLZ said I didn't. 326, 346, which is the last McFarlane, and something you don't see that often, a Eric Larson Hulk. So this is 344, and kind of the Hulk in the same pose as what we would eventually get in ASM 300. I don't know if he was testing it or that's an homage, 300 homaged that or what. An Incredible Hulk 352, 348, 370, 371, 368, little Sam Keith action there. 415, 406, 405, 402, 400, and I don't know if this is the first time I've ever seen this cover, but it's certainly one of the few times I've ever seen it. I've seen the first print a lot of times, which has got a different color background, still that prismy though, but this is the second print. 388, first appearance of this guy, Speed Freak. 425, little hologram, which inside the hologram is the Gamma Blast happening there. And then we got 436, little reflection, Steven Spock, check that out. But yeah, 436, so that's pretty cool. And then also picked up Pit in the Blood, which is a one-shot. So that was really cool. And then I picked this Marvel Age book up, and I was going to open it up to see if this was indeed the one that I thought it was when I picked it up. It's not. I only spent $1 on this, so if it's not the end of the world. But so, Marvel Age was like a preview book, like Foom, that preceded that. And you can, a lot of times nowadays, people go for these previews as much as they do the other books because they start off cheaper anyway. This is not the book that I thought it was. I got to thinking about it after the fact, and I'm like, how can this even be the book? This is like almost a... So what I thought this was when I picked it up, just got a cool little star spotlight on Heathcliff. But what I thought it was when I picked it up was a Comic Tom did a thing where they showed the Marvel Age, and it kind of redacted all this stuff because they were previewing X Factor that was to come. But at that time, Jean Grey was still dead. It's like everybody knows it's Jean Grey, but they cut her out, photoshopped her out, blah, blah, blah. And then I got to thinking when I looked at the cover, I was like, well, you would know it's Jean Grey, so it can't be the same one. So it's not the same book, but again, only spent $1, so not too mad at myself on that. And then this was the biggest book. I wasn't really on the hunt for anything big at this con, mainly going for the SIGs. I'm always up to maybe get a sketch cover. That didn't really present itself, which is probably pretty good, but it didn't because between these last few books that I showed you and the signatures, I spent plenty. But the last table that I went through that I got all those Hulks that I showed you, the guy said, hey, I got the Tales of Astonish stuff over here. This is a book that I've been wanting to get in the Tales of Astonish run, just so before it spikes, really. All of them are desirable in this run. Great stuff. But the first appearance of the Leader, first appearance of the Abomination. Now, this is the second appearance of the Abomination, but first cover appearance, and a better looking cover because the first one actually has Namor because they rotated back and forth of who's on the cover every other month. So it's some 12-cent goodness. Looks like it was kind of miswrapped if you look at it like that. This thing's been Mallarded out of its mind. Pretty clean copy. So glad to have that in the PC. The biggest book that I bought, except for this one, I ran into Jeremy, who does the Huntsville Comic Expo, had a much dialed down table, but I did pick up this book right here from him, Star Wars 68. This one's a newsstand. I had a direct before. The other one I got was a 9.6. This is not a 9.6, but this one is a newsstand. And it's got some pressable defects on there. So I think I'm going to get this pressed and send this to CBCS. And who knows? I might sell it too when it gets back. Yeah, there's a lot of creases in there, but I think there's some room to improve like that. And, if it keeps percolating up, it will find itself in somebody else's treasure trove. So I picked this up. They were giving these away. I thought at first it was a comic book, but it's actually a preview guide showing who's going to be there. But this was printed before all the last minute cancellations. So there's a lot of people that are in here, but didn't. And they had a lot of very niche fan bases, like the guy from Gremlins, some of the Back to the Future people, some of the What's Happening Now. It's like, okay, well, all right, had a little bit of everything. Voice of Mickey Mouse, had a lot of Star Wars folks. They were supposed to have had some more, but that for whatever reason, those people canceled. And yeah, so overall, I think it was a good haul. But you tell me what you think about this haul down in the comments below, and let me know if you are planning on going to any Comic Cons in the near future. I'm glad to be seeing these Comic Cons hold their dates and start to have them every month now, because this is May. I have one planned for June. I have one planned for July. And probably every month this year. So glad to see that they're coming back to some semblance of normalcy. So we will see how that goes. I was able to meet up with, as I mentioned earlier, Sparks and NOLA Comics. However, I was supposed to meet up with some other ones. They didn't pan out. I actually ran into some people that recognized me, and that was kind of cool as well. So I do appreciate everybody in the community that took the time to watch this video, and I doubly appreciate you if you smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and the bell notification, so videos like this drop, you'll know about it. You won't miss out. Also, special appreciation again to all the growing list of channel members, whether you're on a YouTube channel member or Patreon or both. Appreciate you for helping the channel out. And this is so good. I want to show it again before we get out of here.
Let me know when you're rolling. Okay. The Sword of Omens tells me that you're watching Southern Comic Geek. Thundercats. Ho!
And with that, we're out of here, folks. Till next time, keep reading, keep collecting. Adios.